Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. On behalf of JANM, I wanted to welcome you all to both in person and virtually. This is our second hybrid Imagine Little Tokyo short story contest. My name is Elizabeth Morikawa. I'm the Public Programs Associate here at JANM, and I wanted to welcome everybody here today. This contest is presented by the Little Tokyo Historical Society in partnership with Discover Nikkei, a project of JANM. So thank you to everyone who had a hand in putting this very special program together. I'm sure we're in store for a great program today. Before passing the mic over and formally starting the program, I want to go over a couple housekeeping notes. First, the emergency exits are illuminated and may not be the same entrances you came in through, so make sure to note that. Restrooms are available on the second floor, accessible via the stairs or the elevator in the lobby. There is no eating or drinking here in the forum, and this program is being recorded for future reference. And if you are interested in reading the contest winners' work, both this year's and past works, you can find them on discovernikkei.org. The past winners' works are already online, and this year's winners will be posted in the next few weeks or so. So be on the lookout for that if you are interested in reading them for yourself. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to the Imagine Little Tokyo co-chairs, Naomi Hirahara and Mia Iwataki.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear? Hi, everybody. In 1884, Hamanosuke Shigeru, a seaman from Japan, landed in Los Angeles and opened the first Japanese-owned business, and eventually became Little Tokyo. Today, 2024 marks the 140th anniversary of Little Tokyo, and we've got a lot to celebrate. Little Tokyo has survived racism, alien land laws, World War II concentration camps, a transition to Bronzeville, gentrification, the pandemic, but we're standing strong. And we are here because we love our community, we love our people, and we honor our cultural heritage. But we still have struggles intergenerationally and sometimes cross-culturally. We're dealing with these issues. All of these things have been written about in the 130 stories that were submitted to us this year in the Little Tokyo, Imagine Little Tokyo short story contest. And so we want to just underscore how important writing is, because it's the history and the storytelling that's helping to keep Little Tokyo alive today. And we really thank you for submitting stories and for being here with us today.
I want to speak to the people who submitted stories and maybe did not win. And I want to thank you for actually finishing a story. That's a big accomplishment. My first book took me 15 years and a stack of rejections. So, but you know, these things, they could be a little subjective too, but just feel like you have accomplished something good, because you have, and we thank you, and we encourage those people who didn't win, or maybe even people who did win, to submit something next year. And we also want to invite all of you to be part of this very positive, fun event. I love working with the committee, and if you're a member of the committee, just raise your hand, because thank you, and join us, and also donate some money to us too. And if you're interested in being a part of this, please see myself or Mia after the program. Thank you.
And now we're so lucky to have as our MC, Sean Miura. Yay, Sean. Sean is a LA Little Tokyo-based cultural worker. He's the producer and curator of Tuesday Night Cafe, which is the longest running free Asian American public arts series. And Tuesday Night Cafe is every third Tuesday? First and third Tuesday in the courtyard of Union Center for the Arts, which is right in front of East West Players it's really a fun treat. Right now, Sean is writing the forthcoming core exhibition at JANM. And previously, I didn't know this, he was the supervising producer of BuzzFeed's channel, About to Eat. So please welcome our friend, community activist, Sean Miura.
Hey everyone, how's it going? It's really weird to see my face on that screen. Hold on, we're gonna do a little height adjustment. It's nice to follow them because I'm usually not adjusting it upwards. So feeling really basking in this moment. How's everyone doing today? How y'all feeling? Welcome to Imagine Little Tokyo. It's such an honor to be here for the 11th annual Imagine Little Tokyo. I had the privilege of being a judge in 2016, and so to come back and being asked to be the star of the show is pretty cool. But I was thinking as when you said that there were 130 submissions, how when we think about Little Tokyo, I think we each have our own understanding of what Little Tokyo is, who Little Tokyo is, what the correct route through Little Tokyo is, what the right place to have lunch is. We all have our own place, and so to think that there are 130 different versions of that within this program is really special. So it's really cool that programs like this exist that allow us to imagine that. So today we have a really dynamic program. We have 3 categories. I'm going to get into the logistics in just a second, but because it's so dynamic, I'm gonna ask a couple things. The first thing is, if you have a phone on you, feel free to put that on silent or turn it off. Feel free to be very present with us. If you have to take a call, I invite you to take a step up through that door right there. There's a really nice double door situation, so you won't mess with the light too much. And with that, we also have some performers today, and we have some folks who we're celebrating a bit today. So I also invite you to respond. I know it's a Saturday afternoon. It's a fun time, right? So let's try to cheer on our winners. Let's try to cheer on our honorable mentions. Let's cheer on our performers. It's the first day of Pride, and happy to all those who are celebrating. And that is a very loud time. So if we can just do a little rehearsal real quick. This is something we do at Tuesday Night Cafe. I know you've probably seen comedy movies where they go to beat poetry shows, and there's a lot of snapping and clapping and stuff. We're gonna do that right now. So I'm gonna ask you really quick. We're gonna work our way up. So if you hear something that resonates, but you're like I don't want to make a ruckus, you can just go Can I hear you go 1, 2, 3 Thank you. Very good. Very, very good. Now let's say you're really starting to feel it, but you're I'm not fully there, but I'm 80%. Can I just have you just give me a little this, just a little this, yeah. And then let's just celebrate real quick. Can we just get a good clap and cheer, an old-fashioned 1, 2, 3. Woo! All right, how's that feel? Feel good? Ready to start? Okay, all right, so I'm gonna read this incredible script that was gifted to me. I was told to riff on it, but it was perfect as it came. So, 11 years ago, folks in the Little Tokyo Historical Society, can we hear it for the Little Tokyo Historical Society? Imagined a short story contest that would celebrate, pique the interest of, and invite people into the world of Little Tokyo. The response was overwhelming. In the inaugural year, 65 people wrote stories about family gatherings for China Meshi at Far East Cafe, historical sagas, tragedies, and love stories, and futuristic fantasies. What's fun is I think we've all experienced all of those in our own personal lives. The Imagine Little Tokyo short story contest was born. There were so many well-written stories received by Imagine Little Tokyo that the judges advocated for an honorable mention in each category. Nope, this is not, we're supposed to turn the page. No, that's you got a little preview. The next, I was like, wow, they really included that in the overview. The next year, a Japanese language category was added, and the following year, a youth category was included. To the delight of our writers, well-known actors were recruited to read the winning stories, attracting more people to the contest and to the award celebration. Imagine Little Tokyo and Discover Nikkei, a project of Japanese American National Museum, where we are today, developed a great partnership, expanding the audience and opportunities. During the pandemic years, we continued forward with virtual celebrations, which actually tripled the audience, by enabling viewers across the country and internationally to participate through Zoom. So shout out to all of you at home who are joining us online. Where's the camera? Where should I be? Right. Shout out to you. Get out, can we get out? Yeah. Today, the winning story in each category, youth, Japanese language, and adult, will receive a certificate and a cash prize of $500. Yeah, good. See, I like that. See, that we're using it. Great. We're socializing that. Our judging, and with that, as we go, our judging panels will be talking a little bit about the winners of the competition today. So, with that, are you ready to get started with the first category? All right, so our first category is Japanese language stories. We had a prestigious panel of judges in this category, including Mami Sone, educator and wife of Kenko Sone, Consulate General of Japan, who has been very, very supportive of Imagine Little Tokyo. Masanori Baba, who's a director, producer, and writer, whose first short film, Chio, was honored as a semi-finalist for the 79th Academy Awards. And Mariko Lockridge, small business coordinator at LTSC, who serves small businesses and aspiring entrepreneurs in LA County. There were so many well-written stories. This is what I was starting before. There were so many well-written stories received by Imagine Little Tokyo that the judges advocated for an honorable mention in each category. And so we won't be reading the honorable mentions this evening, but we will be giving them a bit of a shout out. And so with that, I'm really excited to announce our first honorable mention for the day. Our honorable mention for the Japanese language category is Am I a Stranger or a Foreigner by Ko Hirano. After dropping out from the Tokyo University of Foreign Studies, she became a research fellow at Georgetown University's School of Foreign Service. Hirano-san is currently an instructor at a prep school, and she is a translator. So, moving on to our winners of this category, or winner of this category. So, with each winner, as part of it, is going to receive, or is going to have a reading. So, we're going to have an actor bring the story to life. This is like an incredible part of the program, and it is a huge part of why people write, is it allows them to hear their stories told in a very dramatic fashion. So this year, we are extremely honored and very, very fortunate to welcome celebrated Ayumi Ito, who will read our Japanese language story. She won both the Best Newcomer Award and was nominated for Best Supporting Actress Award at the 20th Annual Japan Academy Film Prize for a critically acclaimed performance in Swallowtail Butterfly, directed by the renowned director Iwai Shinji. Ayumi Ito went on to make her U.S. drama series debut as Misaki in Max's original series, Tokyo Vice, now streaming. Her numerous film credits include All About Irishushu, Tokyo Tower, Mom and Me and Sometimes Dad, and Gantz, Perfect Answer. She's also the voice of Tifa Lockhart in the animated film Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. I heard a gasp. Nerd. It's okay, I'm like, yeah, it's pretty cool. But Ito-san is actually joining us live from Japan. She's tuned in, right? No? She's tuned in, right? Yes. Yes, but she's watching, right? No. Yeah. She's watching from Japan, where it's currently 6 a.m. Yeah. So can we hear it for Ito-san, who is joining us live? So Ito-san, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you very much. But with that, we get to our winner. And so our winner for the Japanese language category is, can I get a drum roll? New Otani Wedding, written by husband and wife DC and Satsuki Palter. So following the reading, we'll have a greeting from Satsuki Tsubota Palter, who is an Ikebana artist and tea ceremony teacher. She is president of the LA chapter of Ohara Ikebana and the Ikebana Teachers Association. She was born and raised in Kobe before moving to Los Angeles. She has a degree in mathematics from Tokyo University of Science and worked for many years as a computer programmer. DC Palter is a tech entrepreneur and investor. He is the author of the Tuttle Language Guide, Colloquial Kansai Japanese. His first novel, To Kill a Unicorn, set in San Jose's Nihonmachi, was a 2023 American Fiction Awards finalist for Best Mystery and Best Debut Novel. The sequel, Countdown to Decryption, will be published later this month. They live in Mar Vista. Now, before we get into the video, please welcome to the podium Mariko Lockridge, representing the Japanese judges panel, who's going to talk about why the judges picked New Otani Wedding. Both of you? Oh, both. Two. What? Two judges. I was told there was only one, but there only one? Only one. Okay, great. You got it.
Hi, everyone. My mom is really impressed that I'm judging a Japanese writing contest. I really hope she's tuning in also. The entries were really wonderful. As someone who's been living and working in Little Tokyo for the past 5 years, I've gotten to listen to so many amazing stories about our small businesses and about the community, and it's wonderful that there are people that are continuing to imagine a Little Tokyo and what that could be and what it's been, even moving forward. All of the stories had really good writing, so we couldn't really start to eliminate anyone based on the writing skills or the composition alone, because it was so excellent. So then that's when we got into the two ways that myself, Masa-san, and Mami looked at them, which was originality. Have we heard this story before, or is it kind of just the usual boy meets girl, this happens, happy ending, or are we hearing something different, new? And the other thing that was really important in our judging was, is this truly a Little Tokyo story, or could it have happened anywhere? And I think after we looked at those two things, we were able to, after a really hard decision-making process, we were on Zoom for almost 2 hours, the three of us, we came to the conclusion of the grand prize winner. Masa-san's going to talk about that in Japanese, so and share why we chose this one.
Hi everyone. So 日本語で話してくださいと言われましたので、I don't know how many of you actually understand. Actually, you understand Japanese, of course, right? Okay, じゃあ日本語でいきます。簡単に非常にI was so 光栄なお仕事をいただきまして、非常に難しいお仕事でした。どれも素晴らしい作品でしたので、本当に一作品二作品を選ぶのはIt was the hardest job I did. でそんな中、マリコさんもおっしゃったように、僕たちが選んだ基準は、一番心に響いた作品。We chose based on how much we are touched, and it's universal. And Mariko-san said that something new, but 最後にはやっぱり一番心にうるっときた作品を選ばせていただきました。でも本当にどの作品も素晴らしかったので、I think everybody is a winner. So, はい、ありがとうございます。
ニューオータニの結婚式。やっと三郎はホテルに到着した。いらっしゃいませ。ドアマンがホテルの正面玄関でタクシーを迎える声が響いた。ようこそ、ニューオータニロサンゼルスへ。タクシーのドアを開け、深いお辞儀をした。ドアマンがカートを引き寄せ、トランクを開けると、中には小さなカバンが一つ。お荷物はこちらだけでございますか？三郎は弥生を説得して結婚を諦めさせ、日本に連れて帰るには一日で十分だと考えていた。三郎はカバンをさっと取り、ドアへと向かった。フロントで 弥生が手配した1週間の予約を1泊に変えてもらった。三郎が5階の部屋に到着すると、驚いたことに、部屋は日本の旅館のようなしつらいで、畳の部屋だった。靴を脱ぎ、部屋に上がった三郎は、広島から18時間の旅の疲れもあり、すぐに布団になだれ込み、深い眠りについた。やがて大きなノックの音で、三郎は目を覚ました。飛び起きてドアを開けると、そこには妻の葬儀以来、2年ぶりの弥生の姿があった。黒い長髪に金髪のハイライト、ロックバンドの T シャツにジーンズ。アメリカナイズされた娘を見て少し悲しさを覚えた。パパ。頭を下げた三郎に抱きつき、頬ずりした。娘の自信に満ち溢れた強さに触れ、三郎自身は老いを感じた。恵子がいてくれれば、すぐに娘を説き伏せてくれただろうと、三郎は思った。三郎は何百人もの従業員を雇い会社を運営してきたが、娘に言い聞かせるのはそれより大変で不可能だと感じた。来てくれてよかった。許してくれないかもしれないと心配だったの。披露宴の椅子に腰掛けながら弥生は言った。ダメだ。許したわけじゃない。三郎が首を横に振ると、弥生の顔が歪んだ。どうしてダメなの？全部だ。結婚も、お前のここでの生活もだ。日本に帰ろう。でも、ここが私の居場所よ。お前の家は広島だろ。明日の飛行機で帰っておばさんに、ちゃんとした家の見合い相手を探してもらおう。私の結婚式や3日後よ。アメリカ人とだろ。ジムとよ。弥生は父親譲りで頑固だった。弥生を甘やかし、自分が欲しかった息子のように育て、弥生の遊び場は金属プレス工場だった。母親と共に、生け花、書道、茶道をたしなみ、大和なでしことして夫を助け、父親に従うという考えを植え付けられずにいた。弥生が結婚するときは、家から5分の家を買ってやるつもりだった。9000キロも離れた海の向こうの異国など論外だった。結婚は無理だ。でも今晩、ジムの両親に会うのよ。三郎は娘の言葉を振り払った。キャンセル料ならわしが払う。お金の問題じゃないわ。この結婚は認めん。三郎が帝国陸軍に徴兵され、アメリカ軍と戦ったのは40年前だった。祖国への責務を果たし、帰郷し、父親の事業を立て直し、アメリカが一瞬にして焼け野原にした町を再建した。見合いで恵子と結婚し、家族を築き、恵子は両親の面倒を見ながら、幼い弥生を育ててくれた。三郎と恵子は義務を果たした。今度は弥生が恵子の墓を守り、年老いていく三郎の世話をし、次の世代を育てていくはずだった。なのに、先祖への恩を忘れ、アメリカ人になるのだろうか。突然、弥生は前かがみになり、父のはげたおでこにキスをした。パパ。なんだい、やっちゃん。 弥生の方が緩んだ。そう呼ばれるの、久しぶりね。お前はいつまで経っても、やっちゃんのままなんだよ。私はもう子供じゃないわ。立派な大人よ。自分で自分のことは決められるわ。飛行機は明日の午後出発だ。一緒に帰ろう。いやよ。ここが私の居場所よ。だったら、お前はわしの娘じゃない。弥生はうなずいて、すくっと立ち上がり、出口へ向かいドアを開けた。三郎は動けなかった。娘を止められないことは分かっていた。早く、弥生が言った。なんだ？一緒に来て。どこへだ？結婚式場よ。わしは、式には出ないと言っているだろう。だから、式場を見れるのは今しかないのよ。三郎はさっと顔を背け、窓の外を見た。眼下には背の低いコンクリートの建物がアスファルトの5番の目に沿って地平線まで何キロも整然と並んでいた。海と緑豊富な広島の街並みとは全く違っていた。ドアが閉まった時、胸が張り裂けそうだった。娘に会えるのはこれが最後か。妻が亡くなり、娘がいなくなり、この世で一人ぼっちになってしまったのか。その時、激しい足音が聞こえて振り向くと、膨れっ面の弥生がこちらに向かってくるではないか。行くよ、頑固じじい。弥生はそう言って、三郎の腕を掴んだ。三郎は思わず笑った。そう呼ばれるのは稽古からだけだった。弥生に連れられるまま、ホテルの最上階に向かい、エレベーターのドアが開いた瞬間、そこには日本庭園が広がっていた。紺碧の空に眩しすぎる太陽と、暖かく乾燥した空気。落ち葉一つない、松やツツジの茂みを通り過ぎ、岩に囲まれた池には、太陽にきらめく鯉が泳いでいた。水しぶきの音は次第に大きくなり、美しい滝にたどり着くと、その前の広場には白い東屋があった。ここで式を挙げるの。ラバイと出世稲荷神社の神主さんに、英語と日本語でしてもらうの。ラバイ？ジムの家族はユダヤ教なの。両方の家族も文化も大切にしないといけないもの。わしは出席しないから、神主さんを断りなさい。弥生は顔をしかめ、黙って三郎を庭の反対側にある千羽鶴レストランへ連れて行った。入り口には大きな生け花が飾られていた。パパ、これどう思う？背の高い青磁の花瓶に入れられた枝物と花を見て、三郎は稽古を思い出した。日本の生け花じゃないか。私が生けたのよ。弥生は自慢げな顔で言った。お前が？まあ、久子先生が生けたんだけど、先生が手伝わせてくれたのよ。生け花を習っているのか？このロスで。そうよ。ママが亡くなって本当に悲しかった。でも、 ママが生け花をずっとしていたことを思い出して、この近くの日米文化会館で小原流のクラスを見つけたの。弥生が木々の間から見える遠くの大きな白い建物を指さしていった。驚きのあまり、三郎は、へえ、としか言えなかった。稽古は弥生に生け花を教えようとしたことがあったが、弥生はむしろ英語や数学に興味を示した。稽古の死が弥生に日本文化への興味をもたらしたのは皮肉なことだった。弥生が店内を指さし、ここで披露宴をするの。大きな窓越しに着物姿の女性たちがテーブルの間を手際よくささっと行き来し、懐石料理のコースを運んでいた。こんなに豪華なお料理よ。そうかな。店内から漂う味噌の香りに、三郎は空腹を覚えた。稽古が元気で夕食を作ってくれていた頃の我が家の匂いだった。一人になってからはコンビニ弁当で夕食を済ませることがほとんどだった。ここで晩ご飯を食べるか。何言ってるの？もうすぐジムと彼の両親に会うのよ。娘を奪い取った男に会いたくないし、言葉が通じない親と話をしないといけないのも嫌だった。わし抜きで行きなさい。わしはここで食べるから。三郎は人差し指を一本示し、一人お願いします。と接客係に告げようとしたが、弥生が三郎の手を押さえた。パパってなんでそんなに頑固なの？頑固だから生き延びれたんだよ。頑固じゃなかったら戦争で死んでたし、お前も生まれていなかった。弥生は少し考えていた。じゃあ、ジムと彼の両親に会ってそれでも反対なら、一緒に広島に帰るわ。と。本気で言ってるのか？パパの賛成なしで結婚できないわ。結婚をやめられるのか？まずジムに会ってみて。弥生の本心はわからないが、三郎はとりあえず一緒に行くしかなかった。外はロス独特の乾いた熱風が吹き荒れていた。日系の小さな店が立ち並び、店先には二世ウィークや相撲大会、お盆祭りのポスターが貼られていた。日本村広場と書かれた柱にたどり着くと、その向こうには町屋風の建物、白い壁に木の格子や軒、青い屋根瓦は広島の山々に点在する小さな村を思い起こさせた。様々な言語が飛び交う人混みをかき分け、小物屋、回転寿司、山崎パン、日系スーパーと立ち並ぶ通りを抜けた。その時、何か甘い匂いがした。香ばしい甘い香り。子供の頃に嗅いだ匂いだった。ハッピを着た男が今川焼きを慣れた手つきでひっくり返しているのが見えた。懐かしい、と三郎は思った。二人が通りの角にたどり着くと、ジムと弥生が声を上げた。ネクタイと体に合わない背広の青年の胸に弥生が飛び込むと、青年は弥生を抱きしめキスをした。気まずさに 三郎は顔を背けた。パパ、ジムよ。弥生は青年をこちらに向け言った。はじめまして。かろうじて理解できる日本語で挨拶した青年は、予想外に背が低く面長で、茶色の髪をしていた。私の名前はジムです。よろしくお願いいたします。と続けると、青年は弥生の方を向いて、どうと弥生に英語で聞いた。上手と弥生は手を叩き、三郎に向き直り、すごいでしょ？ジムは日本語を勉強しているの、と言った。ベリーグッドと三郎は頑張って言ったが、ジムの日本語よりひどかった。こちらがジムの両親。ごめんなさい。日本語で話せません。と父親が言った。母親は三郎を引き寄せハグをした。お会いできて嬉しいです。娘と青年は手をつなぎ、簡素な店に案内した。ソースの匂いがした。席に着き、メニューを見た三郎は驚いた。お好み焼き。そうよ。パパのために、広島風お好み焼きにしたの。アメリカで？ここはリトル東京だもの。目の前でお好み焼きが焼ける間に弥生は、三郎と同年代に見えるジムの父親が、GM でプラスチックを開発している技術者だと説明した。戦争に行かれましたか？三郎は尋ねた。ドイツに。敵同士だったのはそう遠くない過去の話だった。もしかしたら、この二人もこの結婚に反対するかもしれない。What do you think? Japanese with American? やめてと弥生が言うと同時に、弥生は本当に優しい子だわ。一生、弥生を大切にします。ジムと弥生が出会えたことに感謝しています。と母親が割って入ると父親も。我々が同じ自動車業界だったなんて共通点が多くて驚いています。と続けた。三郎はまだ敵同士です。と答え、拳をテーブルにぶつけてみせた。パパ、戦争はとっくの昔に終わってるわ。鋼鉄とプラスチックの新しい戦争だな。ジムの父親は笑って、残念ですが、プラスチックが勝っていると思いますよ。と言った。そんな話はやめて食べましょう。と弥生は言った。弥生は生地とキャベツとそばを重ねた本格的な広島風お好み焼きの食べ方を教え始めた。一口食べたジムを見て弥生は笑い、昔恵子が三郎にしたように、ジムの口の横についたソースを拭った。みんなが食べ終わると、ジムが、話してもいいですかと言った。ジムは両親を一別すると、弥生の手を取り、通訳を頼み、三郎に向き直った。高山さん、私は弥生を愛しています。しかし、それだけでは十分ではないと分かっています。結婚は二人だけのものではなく、家と家のつながりです。弥生を大切にするだけではなく、 お父さんも大切にします。お父さんの祝福なしには結婚しないと二人で決めました。私をあなたの息子に、新しい息子にしてください。弥生は黙っている三郎を見かねて、パパ、なんとか言って、と促した。ジムは緊張し固まっていた。三郎が途方に暮れていると、その時、恵子の声が聞こえた気がした。頑固じじい。弥生を見てごらんなさい。幸せそうな顔。この子は自分の居場所を見つけたわ。広島に連れ戻さないで。もちろん、妻は正しかった。恵子が弥生を育てたんだ。三郎はすっと立ち上がり、表に出て行こうとした。パパ、どこへ行くの？弥生は困惑して引き止めた。ホテルに戻って予約を延長しないといけない。式に出た後、結婚祝いに家を買わないといけないし、時間が必要だ。弥生とジムは飛び上がって三郎を抱きしめた。パパが泊まれる部屋もある家にしてね。三郎は自分の部屋ではなく、孫の部屋がある家を見つけるつもりだった。自分が引退したら事業を任せられる孫だ。自分の家は孫と今川焼きを一緒に食べられるこのリトル東京あたりにしようと決めていた。
And I believe we're having a video from one of the authors, followed by an in-person thank you acceptance speech. No? Just give it a second. There we go, great, thank you. Please get up for Satsuki Tsubota Palter.
皆様、こんにちは。ポーターさつきです。Hello everyone and greetings from Kobe. I'm sorry I couldn't be with you in person today. I want to say thank you for this incredible award. It is truly a great honor. When my husband suggested that we enter the contest together, I asked him what we should write about. He said, there's only one important story this year, Otani. We have to write about Otani, he said. Of course, I thought about the new Otani Hotel. Maybe he had a different idea. When I moved to Los Angeles, the new Otani was the center of Little Tokyo. I was worried about writing the story together. I'm not a writer, so I was afraid our story would be as bad as my husband's Ikebana. Winning this prize was a great surprise for me. I hope you can enjoy imagawayaki and okonomiyaki today. Thank you. ありがとうございました。
And please welcome to the stage co-writer DC Palter.
Wow, big crowd. So, hi everyone, and hello Satsuki. I guess she's in Kobe. I'm here. I'm truly honored by winning this award. This is my first time to write a story in Japanese, and the first time for Satsuki and me to collaborate on a story together. And that was, well, a bigger, let's just say, challenge than I had expected. I also have to give a huge thanks to Satsuki's sister, Tomio, and my co-editor at Japonica, Yuko, who helped us a lot in getting the story to say what we wanted it to say. And when we thought about what we wanted to write about for this contest, we wanted to write about her father, who passed away a few years ago. And indeed, he was in the Japanese army, he was captured by the Soviet Union, the Russians, at the end of the war, and sent to Siberia as a prisoner of war. And he spent 6 brutal years there in Siberia working in the coal mines. Her mother, too, had been a schoolgirl during the war, and she had actually been trained in how to repel the American invaders with a bamboo spear. So, yeah, I knew nothing of this when I went to their home and asked their permission to marry their daughter. And it was actually the same day of O.J. Simpson's slow speed car chase on the 405 that was playing on the news in Japan while I was asking them for permission for their daughter to come move to wonderful Los Angeles. They said no. I wish it had been as easy as the story. Let's go have some okonomiyaki together and we'll all be friends. But in real life, it took 3 years. 3 years before they relented, reluctantly, of course. But it wasn't until they came to Los Angeles, where we had the wedding, when they saw my parents, met my parents, who did indeed love Satsuki more than me. They saw Los Angeles, they saw Little Tokyo, they saw Westwood where we were living. We went to the South Bay, they saw the Japanese community there. And that's when they realized what a multicultural place Los Angeles is, and that Satsuki could be comfortable living here. And I think that's when they truly accepted our marriage, and they accepted me into the family. And it took a long time, but they did accept me as one of the family members. And after that, we were best friends. So yes, Papa was a Ganko Jiji, but underneath, he had a big heart. He really did. And so maybe this is 27 years late, but I want to say thank you to Papa. I know he's out there listening. And to Satsuki's mama, too, for accepting me into their family. And to my own parents for loving Satsuki as their own. And most of all to Satsuki for this story of our lives together. And that's the magic of Little Tokyo, that I hope we captured a little bit of that essence in the story, the bridge between Japan and America, that is a unique and special place by itself. So a belated thank you to the new Otani Hotel for being the meeting place for every meeting we had all year, every year. And preemptive thank you to Shohei Otani for helping the Dodgers win this year. So thank you very much.
Can we hear it one more time for our winner for the Japanese language session, Yu Otani Kekkonshiki, Yu Otani Wedding? Can we also hear one more time for Ito Ayumi-san, who's joining us all the way from Japan on the live stream? Thank you so much for joining. What a beautiful performance. So with that, we are going to get into the best. Oh, are you going to take a little photo? Cool. All right. I'm going to go away for a second. Be right back. That's fine. I'll go away.
So congratulations,
Thank
DC, and congratulations, Satsuki-san. Omedetou gozaimasu. And with that, we have a certificate presented to you and Satsuki-san. Imagine Little Tokyo Short Story Contest, the 2024 Japanese language New Otani Wedding by DC Palter and Satsuki Palter. And with that, we have a cash prize of $500. So you'll have to determine how you're going to split that.
Oh, yes. We know how it's going to be split, don't we? Yes, thank you very much.
And I do remember when the New Otani Hotel and Gardens was under construction, so it shows you my age, and the Thousand Crane Restaurant, the Senzabuzuro.
Yes.
And then here's just a little gift.
Great.
Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so our authors are not the only winners today because you all got a raffle ticket, right? This is a Little Tokyo event. We do love giving stuff away. So we're gonna draw our first prize for the day, and this is gonna be a package of books. Who likes books? Yeah. So this is gonna be 4 books. You're gonna get committee member Naomi Hirahara's Evergreen signed. You're gonna get Susan Ito's I Would Meet You Anywhere, Susan Kamei's When Can We Go Back to America signed, and a copy of Chris Ayahara's book One Musubi for Me. So, with that, let's make this interactive. I'm going to have Carrie Morita pull. No, Carrie. Okay, that would be very funny if you won though. All right, so the winning number is. Got really quiet. 2, 7, 3. 6, 1. Hey! All right. Congratulations. Nicole will have this go up to you. All right. All right, so, So I've been a resident of Little Tokyo for 6 years now, and I've been working in this community for nearly 20. And so I think I usually have a very, very strong tunnel vision on like who's thinking about Little Tokyo, what Little Tokyo looks like. But the stories I received this year came from around the world. There were submissions from countries like Finland, the Philippines, Nigeria, Nepal. This is a list. Indonesia, Australia, Sri Lanka, and multiple submissions from India, Canada, the UK, and Bulgaria. Over 19 different states are represented in the submissions. So this is a truly international competition. So really, if you win, this is like you have the world's best Little Tokyo short story. So you should. So with that, we get into the English youth category. So we have 3 incredible judges who are here today. The first judge is going to be Caitlin Chu, who is our current Niseiwi queen. We have royalty in the house. A little bit of this. Raffle prize professional. Raffle ticket professional. You should be doing this. Digital and design entrepreneur and author and publisher of a children's book on wearing masks, smiling from ear to ear. It's a really cute name. Paul Daisuke Goodman, who is a creative director at 8 East Productions and writer and director of the award-winning film No No Girl. Most recently selected. Yes, please. This is a plug. Most recently selected at the Los Angeles Asian Pacific Film Festival. He is also a 3-time cancer survivor. Yeah. He's here for that. And then our final judge was Chris Ayahara, longtime community member who recently started a new children's book publishing house, Mikan Press, with her daughter-in-law, Lisa. Mikan Press's first release is One Musubi for Me, a counting book, and is my niece's cocaine. She will not stop reading that book. So with that, we're going to get into our honorable mention for this category. So I'm really excited to announce that our honorable mention is written by Orange County high schooler Pablo Matias Hernandez Martinez, and the story is called Dreaming in Little Tokyo. Can we please give it up for Ms. Martinez? And so thank you to our honorable mention winner. It's really awesome to have young people writing. I think that's like the future, is having young people able to tell stories in ways that are empathetic and allow them to explore the world around them. With that, moving into our winner of the youth category, we will have a live reading this time, from actress Chloe Madriaga. Chloe is an award-winning artist originally from Maui. Chloe is recently a featured actor in the Los Angeles stage production Kill Shelter, and is an ensemble member of Theater of Note. She has been a narrator for a number of audiobooks, including Every Drop a Man's Nightmare, Iced in Paradise, yeah, An Eternal Lay, Halfway to the Middle, and She Persisted, Patsy Mink. Please get up for Chloe. And with that, we get to the winner of our youth category. The winning story is, can I get a drum roll? The winner is author Madeline Thach for the story Little Things. Madeline is a 14-year-old. Can we hear it for Madeline? Thank you. Madeline is a 14-year-old homeschooler from Colleyville, Texas. Yeah. She won Imagine Little Tokyo's honorable mention 2 years in a row before placing first this year. So this is 2 years around. It was a long time coming. Her perseverance paid off. Her other awards include first place in the International Saugus Halloween Ghost Story Contest and 2 first prizes in the National Association of Teachers of Singing Regional Competition. She has a YouTube channel, Blue Stocking Online. But with that, please welcome to our stage our judges Kaylin Chu and Paul Goodman, who will talk about why they selected Little Things, followed by a reading by Chloe Madriaga. Thank you.
Hello. Maybe I'll just. I think I can speak for all the judges on this, but the submissions that we received for the youth category were incredible. I personally couldn't believe that they were written by teenagers or younger, and we had no idea the age range of the kids, but just had to remind ourselves, like, this is a young child probably writing these incredible stories. Our honorable mention and the winner, I think, were among good company, but rose to the top. They had intricate themes woven throughout. They had really identifiable characters and a lot of empathy and ethos, and I mean, they just read like I couldn't believe they were children. And that's not a knock against children, because we all know they can say some things, but it felt so mature, the writing, the ideas. What you'll see in Little Things, just her relationship and how her relationship and the community's relationship are tied together, and it's so beautiful. I'll pass it along.
Thank you, Paul. I just want to say that it's been a huge honor to serve on this committee, and I love this event. This energy is so amazing, and I've already become so emotional by these stories, so can't wait to keep this event going. But yeah, I just want to say I was blown away by all the entries. Everyone was so creative and so unique in the way that they reimagined Little Tokyo, and it makes me extremely proud to be part of this community and have had a childhood growing up in this community, especially all this youth who were mentioning like Fugetsudo and Nisei Week, and personally being a part of Nisei Week, I was like, wow, like they all talked about seeing the parade in the streets, and it's just such an honor to be a part of that tradition here in Little Tokyo. And yeah, I can't wait to hear the live reading by Chloe, and if this youth is our future, then I think we are in good hands. So thank you.
All right, so please welcome to the stage actor Chloe Madriaga.
This is Little Things. We sat, laughing, on a patio bench in the Japanese village plaza. On the way, we'd bought a box of rainbow dango from Fugetsudo. I had already eaten more than my share, but Ba-chan didn't mind. A flower-printed yellow umbrella shaded us from the sun as red and white lanterns danced in the breeze over the heads of happy shoppers. It was spring, the time when the air is filled with birdsong and the sweet perfume of sakura. I could have stayed there forever, sinking my teeth into the chewy dango and swinging my legs. One of my knees hurt from hitting it on the sidewalk earlier, but I wasn't worried. Bachan had already rubbed the cool herbaceous salve she kept in her purse onto it. It's just a bruise, Nanami. You'll be fine. She always fixed everything and pretended not to notice when I reached for another dango. All the hospitals on TV are unsettlingly white, but this one was unsettlingly clean. The floor was shiny, the counters were empty, and all the staff members wore spotless scrubs. I wish it felt more like people live here and less like they're trying not to die here, I thought. I fidgeted with the hem of my shirt as the nurses exited the hospital room. Then my mom and I walked in. The bed was huge, with tall plastic guards on the sides and a machine underneath that projected colored symbols onto the floor. A large framed whiteboard hanging on the wall had neatly outlined boxes for the day of the week, Sunday, the names of various doctors, I counted 6, and the discharge day, which was left blank. I kept my eyes on the board until Mom elbowed me. "Say hello," she mouthed. For the first time, I turned to my Bachan. Her bun was askew. Her mustard yellow hospital gown exposed one shoulder, and an oxygen line ran beneath her nose. Her wrists were swathed in plastic wristbands. Her arms were stiff with IV lines, and one finger was clamped with a plastic tip connected to several beeping machines. I swallowed. She's still Bachan, right? No big deal. "Hi, Bachan. It's me, Nanami," I said, trying to smile. "Hello," she said politely, as if she was greeting an acquaintance. "How are you?" "I'm good. How are you?" I was not good, but the words slipped out of my mouth. "I'm fine, thank you." That definitely wasn't true. "What did you learn in school today?" I didn't go to school today. It's Sunday." Bachan's face fell. I had embarrassed her. "Lately, we've been learning about atomic structure." I would talk about anything, even my least favorite school subject, just to fill the awkward silence. "That's nice." I noticed an empty food tray beside her bed. "So, how's the food here?" "It's fine." She didn't seem to have much to say. I chewed on my lower lip, trying to think of another question to ask. Then a nurse walked in. "She's going to need a blood transfusion. Could you sign this paperwork?" She offered a clipboard and pen to my mom. The words at the bottom of the form: "Patient is at risk of allergic reactions, fever, and death," made me shiver. I wanted to cry out, tell Mom not to sign it, and tell the nurse Bachan didn't need it, but it was already done. Mom passed the clipboard and pen back to the nurse. "Would you like to stay or leave? It takes about 4 hours." "I think we'll head out, thanks." Mom nodded to the nurse, then took my hand and walked briskly out of the room. Fat, hot tears ran down my face as we silently drove home. I blinked rapidly as the priest chanted the sutra. I wanted to believe my eyes were watering from the burning incense, but I knew it was because of who was in the casket. There, resplendent in a white kimono, lay Bachan, as still and as silent as the earth itself. She was surrounded by her favorite chopsticks, a pair of sandals, and coins for crossing the Sanzu no Kawa. She had everything she ever needed or loved, except the people she left behind. I should have asked her more, listened more, remembered more. I would have given anything for just 5 more minutes with her, but she was gone. I gulped as tears flowed like twin rivers down my cheeks. I snapped out of the horrible vision and grabbed a tissue to wipe my tears. Get it together, Nanami. I pushed my worries about Bachan out of my head as I opened my desk drawer of craft supplies. Choosing a sunny yellow piece of construction paper, I carefully folded it in half. I ran my thumb over the crease, like Bachan showed me. Her boats always turned out better than mine when we folded origami while waiting for our food at Daikokuya. I chose a black marker and began to write. I hope you feel better soon, Bachan, on the front of the card. I could feel Bachan's small wrinkled hand over mine, guiding my pen as I practiced my calligraphy. No, I stopped abruptly, narrowly avoiding dropping a splotch of ink on the paper. This isn't a calligraphy lesson, and I'm probably not going to have one for a long time, if ever. And thinking about it will just make things worse. I sighed and finished writing the sentiment. I knew Bachan loved cute things, so I pulled out a sheet of kawaii stickers. She'd bought them for me at a shop on First Street during one of our Sunday afternoon walks. I took a deep breath, picked out a maneki neko sticker, and placed it underneath the words. It seemed to be smiling as it held its paw up in a sign of good luck. I'd better write something inside. I flipped the card open. Don't let the blank canvas scare you. Let it inspire you. This is your masterpiece. I remembered Bachan saying those words to me as I held the tiny scissors, unsure of how to prune her bonsai tree. Get out of my head, I mentally screamed at the picture. As it faded away, my sudden anger melted into sadness. No, wait, come back. I want to trim your bonsai tree with you again. I want to fold origami and practice calligraphy and go shopping in Little Tokyo and eat rainbow dango on the village plaza with you again. What happened to all our favorite little things? Tears welled up in my eyes again as I thought of Bachan, fragile and alone in her huge hospital bed. Please be brave, Bachan. I promise you'll get better. I held on to my pen with a death grip as I wrote a few kind words inside the card. I blew on the ink to make sure it was dry before slipping the card into my bag for tomorrow. It's a nice card, like those colorful band-aids Bachan used to put on my scrapes. Only this band-aid is trying to fix a broken heart. It's nice to see you again, Bachan. We were back at the hospital, where the bed was still huge, the machines were still beeping, and Bachan's hospital gown was still falling off. I rummaged in my bag until I found the card. I made you a card. There's a maneki neko on it for good luck. I pulled it out and offered it to her with a weak smile. Thank you, she said softly, jostling the pick lines in her arms as she took it. Her hands shook slightly as she opened it, but she beamed at the words inside. It's very pretty. I'm glad you like it. I felt like I was in kindergarten again, presenting my finger-painted art project to my mom. Bachan tried to prop the card up on her bedside table, but she almost knocked over a full glass of water. I gently took the card from her hands, moved the glass, and placed the card where she could admire it. Thank you. That was very thoughtful. Bachan paused. Your thoughtfulness is one of the little things I love about you. Suddenly, I was flooded with the warmth and familiarity of her words. They were the magic words. Our magic words. For the first time since Mom called 911, I felt happy. Bachan's eyes sparkled in a familiar way. Seconds later, the sparkle faded, her eyes clouded, and she slumped back against the pillows. I think she's tired, sweetie. Let's go home so she can get some rest. I nodded. It felt like Bachan is slipping away. I replayed the memory of what she'd said. Little things. Then suddenly, I had an idea. One that might bring her back to us. Mom, can we stop by Bachan's apartment on the way home? Bachan lived in a small apartment in Little Tokyo, only a few minutes away from the places we loved to visit together. But now the rooms were empty, the dirty dishes were still in the sink, and Bachan's bonsai tree had sprouted unruly leaves. This place felt frozen in time. Are you sure you want to be here, Nanami? You haven't even told me what you're looking for. Mom studied my face as I stood in the living room, staring at Bachan's favorite chair. It's going to be all right. She'll be back here watching Food Network in no time. And I desperately needed to believe it was true. I'm fine, Mom. I just need to find a box of photos. I turned away from Bachan's chair and walked to the closet. Which box? Your Bachan keeps tons of photos. Mom had a point. Bachan used her vintage instant camera to take copious amounts of photos with all her family members. I'm just going to take a peek and see if I can find some photos of her with me. I opened the closet door and peered inside. Boxes of photos were stacked almost to the ceiling. I scanned the labels, written in Bachan's beautiful handwriting. Okaa-san and Oto-san, Itoko Tachi, Nanami. Bingo. On our third visit to the hospital, I was carrying precious cargo. A shoebox covered in origami papers, pressed bonsai leaves, maneki neko stickers, and receipts from Daikokuya. The people who passed us in the halls looked mystified by the package, but I knew someone who would understand it perfectly. That someone was waiting for me in the same room, sitting in the same bed, and wearing the same perpetually askew hospital gown. Hi, Bachan. Guess what I bought you today? I held out the box, grinning at Bachan. My enthusiasm must have rubbed off on her. She seemed a bit excited. What is this? She smoothed the blanket over her legs, inviting me to set the box in her lap. Open it and you'll find out. I couldn't wait to see the look on her face. She carefully lifted off the lid to reveal a single sheet of paper. In my best calligraphy were the words, "All the little things I love about you." You're always telling me the little things you love about me, so I thought I'd tell you the little things I love about you, I explained, stepping closer. Bachan's cheeks flushed as she sat up alertly in bed. She took the paper out of the box and saw dozens of Polaroids she'd taken of us. Some of the photos were recent, and others were from my early years, but all of them had newly written captions. Bachan reached into the box and pulled out a photo of her and 6-year-old me sharing the last piece of manju. The caption read, "I love how freely you share." Bachan smiled warmly as she carefully set the photo on the bed. In the next picture she chose, she was showing me how to slice green onions. Below the photo, I'd written, "I love your amazing meals." Bachan was glowing now, full of joy, life, and, well, Bachan-ness. "Hold that smile," I told Bachan as I pulled her instant camera out of my bag. I leaned my head toward hers, gave a picture-worthy grin, and clicked the shutter. Like magic, the small photo inched its way out of the slot at the top and gently fell into Bachan's hand. She watched, mesmerized, as the white slowly faded to reveal a picture of us. I took out a pen and carefully wrote along the bottom, "I love your bravery." Then I placed the photo inside the box with all the other snapshots of our memories. Bachan's eyes met mine, and at the same moment, we smiled. 3 weeks later, the chair in Bachan's apartment was no longer empty. She was there, bathed in the last rays of fall sunlight. A chrome walker with tennis balls and rubber hand grips stood close to her. It seems out of place, but I guess things change. My hands were warm from holding the smooth cup of green tea. Bachan had described the process to me in such loving detail that making the tea for us was easy. I made sure to write down all the steps in my notebook, where I had begun to collect her precious wisdom. I inhaled the earthy, sweet steam rising from my cup and peacefully closed my eyes. A notification dinged on my phone, but I silenced it with a tap. Every moment with Bachan was precious, like autumn leaves floating on the wind, beautiful but delicate and fleeting. Bachan was staring out the window, watching people mingle on the little Tokyo streets below. A small smile flickered on her lips. "Home," she said simply, and that said it all. I reached out and placed my hand in hers. Bachan's touch was gentle yet firm, just as it had always been. Some things were different now, but the little things had stayed the same. And the little things were what mattered the most.
One more time, winner Madeline Thach. And then can we hear it for reader Chloe Madriaga? That was a very soothing, your voice is like very soothing. So now I believe we have a video message from our winner, Madeline.
Hi, I'm Madeline Thach, and I'm so honored to have won first prize in the youth category of the Imagine Little Tokyo Short Story Contest. The amazing mentors in this year's Imagine Little Tokyo Short Story Writing Workshop mentioned something that inspired me to write my story this year. They suggested using something you've experienced lately as a jumping off point for your writing. At the time, I wasn't sure how to apply their advice. I had spent the last year with my grandparents in hospitals and medical facilities while my friends were off attending concerts, visiting theme parks, and flying around the world. But when I started to write about my family's health struggles, I realized that it was the perfect way for me to connect more deeply with members of the Little Tokyo community who had similar experiences. For me, Little Tokyo truly embodies the spirit of family. I love the way that people in the community lift each other up and welcome everyone like they belong. I believe that's one of the things that makes Little Tokyo such a vibrant and beautiful place. I'd like to thank my family, especially my parents and grandparents and all my friends, for encouraging me to pursue this dream. Being creative is sometimes a struggle, but having people you love supporting you makes the journey so much easier. I'd also like to thank everyone with the Little Tokyo Historical Society and Discover Nikkei program and all the donors who support those organizations for making this contest possible. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to connect with your community and share my story. I hope my story, Little Things, and all the other recognized stories in this year's contest will inspire the next generation of Little Tokyo writers. Thank you so much. Domo arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you, Madeline. Yes, donate. That's the takeaway. All right, so speaking of donations, we have another round of raffle prizes. Yeah, reach for those tickets. All right, so this round we have 4 more items all packaged together. The first is another book from co-chair Naomi Hirahara called The Child's Introduction to Asian American and Pacific Islander History. It's signed. We have another copy of One Musubi for Me by Chris Ayuhara. And then we have 2 contributions by our judges who we heard from earlier. We have a signed book of Smiling from Ear to Ear, Wearing Masks While Having Fun by Caitlin Chu, and a signed script of Paul Daisuke Goodman's filmed No No Girl. So I'm going to, just to keep things moving, I'm going to do this myself. Carrie took a little bit too long. All right. All right. Y'all ready? You have your tickets out? You ready? Okay. The winning number is 2, 7, 3, yeah, rub those hands, 6, 9, 1. Yeah! All right, congratulations, you're taking home books. With that, very excited to move on to our final prize of the afternoon. So this is our category, the adult category, and we have 3 judges for this as well. So I'll introduce them. Our first judge is Susan Kame, who is the author of the award-winning book, When Can We Go Back to America? Voices of Japanese American Incarceration During World War II. Susan H. Kame is recognized as a prominent and visible scholar on the incarceration. She is a USC adjunct professor of history, teaching about the relevance of the incarceration today. She is also an affiliate faculty of the USC Ito Center for Japanese Religions and Cultures, researching names of incarcerees to include in the ongoing compilation of the Ire Names Project. Susan's mother and maternal grandparents were from Little Tokyo, so she's especially happy to be part of this year's Imagine Little Tokyo program. Our next judge is Jeffrey G. Chin, who breathes life into the untold stories of Asian immigrant pioneers. He is best known for his work on civil rights leader Seifuji. Through the Little Tokyo Historical Society, Jeffrey directed award-winning short Little Tokyo Reporter and supported subsequent projects to build a memorial lantern, historical designations, acquire a posthumous law license, and to publish an award-winning biography. A Rebel's Outcry won gold medal prizes from the California Book and Independent Publishers Book Awards, and honorable mention with Writer's Digest. Jeffrey is also a protege of the late director John Singleton and currently developing a feature film and graphic novel. And our final judge for this category is Susan Ito, whose adoption memoir, I Would Meet You Anywhere, is a finalist for National Book Critics Circle Award. Susan is shortlisted for the William Saroyan International Prize for Writing and was recognized in Best Books of 2023 by Library Journal. Can we please hear it for our judges? I do want to call out that there are 130 stories submitted, and so it was a whole committee that reviewed these stories. But it takes quite a long time to read one story. So the work of a judge is no easy task. So they're not just reading stories and being judgmental. They're actually like taking time to read stories, consider them, evaluate them. So it is a lot of work and a lot of consideration. So when they're talking, they're really sharing the insights that they've gleaned. But with that, I'm going to introduce our honorable mention for this category. And our honorable mention for this category is Sustain by Monique Hayes. Can we please hear from Monique? Monique Hayes is a fiction author, poet, and screenwriter from Maryland. A Pushcart Prize nominee, Brooklyn Poets Fellow, and Hurston Wright Fellow, she is currently working on a Revolutionary War novel. She is enjoying learning the rich histories of Little Tokyo and Bronzeville. And to share a little bit of reflection on the honorable mention in the spirit of what I just said about judging, I'm going to bring up Jeffrey G. Chin to talk a bit about this short story. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So being part of this reviewing committee is actually quite an honor, and our discussions were actually took quite a long time to figure out which ones we loved the most. Sustain really stood out specifically because it explored Little Tokyo in a very nuanced way and had the intersectionality of Bronzeville, and we felt that it was very delicately done. They worked in very intelligent metaphors, and it provided a sense of timelessness that we found was very unique to the experience. So we hope that in the future we can also, you guys may enjoy Sustain as well. So thank you.
And then before we announce the winner of this category, I again want to introduce our reader for the afternoon who will be reading the winner of this category. Today reading the piece will be Kurt Kanazawa. Yes. Kurt is an accomplished actor, opera singer. I hope we incorporate that into the reading. And Yonsei Yonsei. He was born and raised in Los Angeles, California to Hawaii-born parents Sidney Kanazawa and Millicent Sanchez. Kurt is also a graduate of the Juilliard School, center stage, Manhattan School of Music, and Columbia University. His TV film credits include Grey's Anatomy, Bosch Legacy, the Japanese American National Museum's A Life in Pieces, The Diary and Letters of Stanley Hayami, and No No Girl by Paul Daisuke Goodman, one of our judges this afternoon. So thank you, Kurt. Kurt, you'll be hearing from him in just a minute. But our winner for the adult English language category is, can I get a drum roll? The winner is Brandon Tadashi Chung. With his story, Until Next We Meet. Brandon is a Los Angeles native and has been part of the Little Tokyo community all his life. He graduated from USC in 2020 with a dual degree in communication and English. Sorry, you can. Yeah. Dial it down, USC. Dial it down. I went to USC as well, but I'm not. I know. You can't have it all. He graduated from USC in 2020 with a dual degree in communication English and currently works at ABC7 Eyewitness News as a news assistant and video journalist. When he's not filming new restaurants or delivering scripts to David Ono and Rob Fukuzaki, he can be found on the hiking trails of LA with his friends. The committee asked me to also add on that he is a grandson of Anzen steward Nori Takitani. I believe that Nori-san is here. Nori-san, thank you for being here. So it's really special to have Legacy in the house. But with that, I'd like to bring up our judges who will share a little bit about the winner of this year's adult prize.
Yes, we're going back to short here. Well, thank you very much, Sean. And on behalf of Susan Ito, who was sorry that she couldn't be here today, and my good pal, Jeffrey Chin, we likewise echo all the things that the other judges have said about how honored we were to get to read and be part of this category. Uniformly impressed with the quality and also the very different ways that the spirit of Little Tokyo was shared. We want to congratulate all of those who submitted because it was great work, great writing, and great commitment to the community. And must have been something karmic, Naomi and Mia, about Kurt being part of this category, because Kurt was one of the voices for the audio version of my book. And I got to meet him for the first time. And Sydney, I did not know of the connection. So that had already made it a very special event for me. Before we talk about when we next meet and why it was so meaningful for us to select it, we wanted to exercise our judges' prerogative to give our own award of what I'm going to call pride of place to Fugetsudo and to Brian and the family, because out of the submissions that we read, a majority of them mentioned Fugetsudo as part of their connection to the community. And Jeffrey texted me at one point because we're all rereading one particular weekend, and he texts me, he goes, lots of Fugetsudo. And I felt like I needed to put down the papers and get in my car and come down here and buy some, because how else should I be reading except to be eating the manju? So what we should have done is counted up, and logistically it would not have been possible, out of all the 130 submissions, how many mentioned Fugetsudo. So we don't have a trophy or a plaque for you, Brian, but what I thought for you in the audience we wanted to do is I selected a sentence. In some cases, some of the stories had whole scenes, whole settings set inside the store or in front of the store. But I selected 6 sentences just to give you an idea of how Fugetsudo factored into the stories. Okay? From Sustain, I returned to where the voices first vexed me, Fugetsudo, with my instrument. Now, I'm a little intimidated reading this with all these professional actors, but bear with me. The factors. On an afternoon trip to Little Tokyo's oldest shop, Fugetsudo, Reiko admired the panoply of mochi, manju, and monaka. From The Test of Time. When she eventually married Grandpa, she made what may have seemed a strange request to have her wedding photos taken at Fugetsudo. But she did this to honor the memory of her grandmother. From Blue Moon, she would never forget her first taste of daifuku, sitting with her mother and her sisters at Fugetsudo on that clear day in 1935 without a care in the world. From When Next We Meet, my mother always returned with rainbow mochi from Fugetsudo nearby. And from Waiting, even the first batches of mochi and manju had already been laid out in the display window of Fugetsudo, tempting passers-by with their sweet, warm scent and pastel colors. Thank you, Brian. For the qualities of the winning When We Next Meet, we were unanimously impressed with not only the quality of the writing and the trajectory of the plot, but in such a short amount of words, of such full character development, it was very satisfying to read. We felt that there were many aspects that were very meaningful to the Japanese American families and the Japanese American community, and that it honored that kind of interior perspective. And yet it was very accessible and enjoyable and easy to read. We got to the end and didn't want it to end. So we just wanted to congratulate Brandon and again thank all of those who submitted.
So please welcome to the stage, to the podium, Kurt Kanazawa.
I will readjust this. I'm sorry. When Next We Meet by Brandon Tadashi Chung. We don't actually get the name of the person, which is amazing. When I was young, there were 3 certainties in life: Saturday cartoons, ice cream after dinner, and my grandmother. Baba, we called her back then. We called her then. My parents did their best to teach me to address her properly when I was young, but it never stuck. Ba-chan, they enunciated over and over again. Grandmother, Ba-chan. Maybe they should have known better than to try and teach pronunciation to a 3-year-old with a tongue blunter than the back of a butter knife. Baba, I babbled instead. Baba. Baba, sitting in her blue armchair nearby, giggled at my parents' exasperation. That's right, Ko-chan, I remember her saying. I'm your Baba. Baba was 80 when I was born, but still sharp and dexterous as someone half her age. When she babysat me during the afternoons after preschool, she often entertained me by flopping her hand around on the sofa. Kobe, her brown chihuahua, went feral, lunging and snapping at her twisting fingers, never able to catch them in his jaws. I laughed and clapped my hands in glee, never once worrying that he would bite her. Nothing could catch Baba, ever. Later on, as I lay on the couch, Baba sat next to me, caressing my head as I slowly dozed off. "Tsuru, tsuru," she whispered gently, tingles blooming in the back of my head at the soothing lullaby. "Let the crane's wings carry you to sleep. Tsuru, tsuru." I only drew her wrath once, when I was 5. It was a hot summer day, June, I think. Baba and I had retreated into the house, cleaning out a few drawers in her little spare bedroom. The ceiling fan rotated steadily, spreading the stale smell of aged wood and long-stored clothes. We were busy pulling old shirts and dresses out of the drawers, packing them into boxes to take to the Salvation Army. At the bottom of a drawer, I found an old paper tag, the kind we attached to suitcases when my family took plane trips. A number was written on it, 104983. It was crumpled and yellowed, smeared with dirt. I thought it was trash. I turned to throw it away. Baba's eyes widened as she saw the tag falling into the can. She let out a horrified shriek and snatched it out of the air, glaring at me. "No, Kotaro!" She grabbed a ruler lying in one of the boxes and rapped my knuckles hard with it. I cried out, falling backwards and clutching at my hand. Baba didn't notice, cradling the tag in her hands with all the tenderness of a newborn baby. When my parents arrived an hour later to pick me up, they found me sitting sullenly on the couch, watching cartoons with red eyes and a bag of ice on my hand. Baba sat nearby in her armchair, her usual gaiety vanished. Her eyes were red too, and she still held the tag in her hands, caressing it with her thumbs. In those days, we went to Little Tokyo quite often. Baba and I spent most of our time in the village plaza while my mother shopped. We played with, but never bought, the toys in the stores. "You have too many toys, Ko-chan," Baba said. But my mother always returned with rainbow mochi from Fugetsudo nearby. And that made up for it. As I grew older, Baba and I started roaming through the rest of Little Tokyo, eating anpan from the bakery or drinking kalpis from one of the markets nearby. Once, when I was 7, we stopped at the corner of First Street near the Yaguda Tower. Across the street stood a classic American structure, something out of the old noir movies Baba watched sometimes. Brick facades and fire escape ladders on the upper levels. Jutting out from the side was a Japanese-style overhang, like the ones built at the entrances of Buddhist temples. "What's that?" I asked, through a mouthful of takoyaki, pointing. Baba followed my finger. It was a bright day, but her eyes seemed to grow shadowed, dull. "That was a temple, Ko-chan," she said, her voice sounding very far away. "My family prayed there." She walked as if in a trance, crossing the street before the light had turned green. I followed her to make sure she didn't get hit by traffic. A driver honked, probably wondering if she had dementia. Baba walked up to one of the windows, set in a deep alcove. She tenderly placed a hand on the edge, stroking it like she would a large animal. "I sat here when the army took us away," she said wistfully. "I held him here. He was so scared." She looked down at me, placing a hand on my shoulder. "He looked just like you," she whispered. "And he would have loved to meet you." "Who, Baba?" I asked. "And why did the army take you? Where'd you go?" Baba didn't answer. She smiled, though the shadow in her eyes lingered. This was the old Nishi temple before it moved down the street, she told me. Did you know it's haunted by ghosts? My eyes lit up, as any child would at the mention of ghosts. No? What kind of ghosts? Some of Baba's signature mischief brightened her face again, but she shrugged. You'll have to ask the headless monk that people say floats around on the second floor, or the woman that walks into the prayer hall through the altar wall. I crowed in amazement, plastering my face against the window to see if I could catch a glimpse of any ghost in the bright sunlight. Baba pulled me back, smiling. Many souls have passed through here, she told me. They say a few of them still remain, waiting for something. For what? Baba shrugged again, pulling me along. As we walked away, she looked back wistfully. I hope that's true, she murmured to herself, so quietly I almost didn't hear. Baba never talked about the war with me. I was only a child, after all. My parents, aunts, and uncles held no such reservation. As I grew older, they explained what Baba had meant that day. How the Japanese Americans had been uprooted after Pearl Harbor, how they were interned in the desert with only the clothes on their back and 2 suitcases of meager possessions. Baba had sat with her family and so many others at the old Nishi temple, waiting for the bus that would take them away. With them was her first son, Gary, then an infant. He was the one Baba had talked about, how he had wailed in her arms, how she held him in that little alcove, as if they could hide from the army. The paper tag I thought was trash was his, they explained. A little luggage marker, given to all Japanese Americans, identifying them by number, not by name. Gary grew from baby to toddler with Baba in Manzanar, up north. When Japan surrendered and our family was allowed to return, they had no home, no car. Baba and her family returned to Little Tokyo with dozens of others, spending their first night of freedom sleeping on the floor of the Koyosan temple across the street from Old Nishi. Over the next few months, Baba and Gramps took work where they could find it, washing dishes or tending the gardens of wealthy folk. Gary spent his time in Little Tokyo. Bronzeville, it was called then, as the African American community had moved into the neighborhood while the Japanese Americans were interned. There was no school yet, so he hung out in the neighborhood with the other kids, Japanese and black, playing sports and making new friends. One day he was playing soccer in the street. Someone kicked a wide shot. Gary ran after it. He never saw the car, never heard the screech of rubber on asphalt, never saw the driver that peered out the window, looked at the Japanese boy lying in the street, and took off. He was 6. My family spoke of it like you would the weather. The older brother they never knew lived only as a footnote in our history, but I saw Baba's eyes darken whenever he was mentioned, how her hands twitched, reaching out for something. Only once did she interject. I couldn't believe it, she said quietly. We were all sitting in the kitchen eating barbecue ribs and bone soup. Everyone looked at her. Etched into the lines of her face was deep sorrow. He looked like he was asleep. I thought he would wake up. He had to. We never spoke of him after that, not in front of her. Baba was getting older and slower. She went more and more to the doctor, then moved into a residential facility where we visited her every week. Sometimes we took her to Little Tokyo, pushing her through the crowded streets in a wheelchair. I was growing older, busier with high school. I could no longer sit for hours with Baba. My weekends were filled with projects and extracurriculars. When I could take her out, we sat in front of old Nishi, resting in the shade and eating mochi, just like old times. Every now and then, Baba would look through the windows. The building was a museum now, and I always offered to take her inside. She always refused. "I don't want to be disappointed," she said jokingly. I thought she meant the exhibits, but still she peered through the windows. The summer I turned 16, she and I sat in old Nishi's shadow, munching on snacks, when she turned to me. "Tsuru tsuru, Ko-chan," she said suddenly. "Listen for the crane's wings when next we meet. Tsuru tsuru." I frowned. "I'm right here," I said. "I'm not going anywhere soon." Baba smiled faintly. "Who said I'm talking about you?" she teased, pinching my cheeks. 2 days later, the residential home called. We arrived quickly, sprinting to her room. Baba was lying on the bed, like she usually was when we visited. She was only sleeping. She would wake soon. She had to. We held her funeral at New Nishi, mournfully recounting her spunky attitude and sharp wit to all who came to pay their last respects. At one point, my mother took the stage, eyes brimming. Someone once said of Theodore Roosevelt that death had to take him sleeping, for if he had been awake, there would have been a fight, she said haltingly. I think that was true of Baba too. The Grim Reaper would never have caught her otherwise. Laughter rippled through the hall. It was true. Baba was too quick. Nothing could catch her ever. Later, we carried her casket to the cemetery, burying her between Gramps and Gary. I'm not ashamed to admit I cried like a child as clods of dirt rained down on her coffin. Grief ages us, but also turns us to children again, calling out for those we love most. Eventually, the crowd dispersed back to their cars to drive to the reception. As we walked, I noticed a little boy just ahead. His back to me. He was on his tiptoes, craning his neck and looking around. Perhaps he'd lost someone. "Hey, kid," I called out to him as he walked behind a hedge. "Where are your parents?" I rounded the corner. No one was there. As time went on, Baba's loss hurt less and less, and life moved on. Still, it felt hollow, empty. We no longer went to Little Tokyo. Its history was our family's, and none of us were prepared to turn the page forward or back. There was too much Baba in one direction, and not enough of her in the other. My senior year of high school, my government class took a field trip to the Japanese American National Museum. I hung in the back as our docent walked us through the halls, detailing the injustices of the internment. I knew this chapter in history very well now, but stayed silent. Some things are better felt, not said. When we finished, my classmates milled in the large walkway in front of the museum, eating snacks or playing with the giant Rubik's Cube in front. The buses were late. I stood alone in the shade near the museum's doors. It was swelteringly hot, spring giving way to summer, and the ground rippled like a desert mirage. My gaze drifted to old Nishi, right across the way. I hadn't been here in 2 years since Baba had passed. Without thinking, my feet took me down the steps to the alcove where we'd sat, where once she'd waited with her young son. I touched the concrete edge gently, wishing it was her touch again instead of solid stone. I understood her a little better now that she was gone. She'd missed her son terribly, even all those years later. And I missed her too. A cold chill blew over the back of my neck. I thought I felt a touch on my shoulder, feather-light. Then a sound, soft as a baby's cheek in my ear. A rushing noise, like a waving flag, like beating wings. I whipped around. A few feet in front of me stood a little boy and his mother. They were dressed in older clothing, like those in the museum exhibits, thick wool coats and long pants. Paper tags were fixed to their lapels. Their forms rippled in the heat. It was like looking into a window into the past. Except for the hairstyle, the boy looked exactly like me as a child. A picture from a family album come to life. He smiled a gap-toothed grin, eyes glimmering with excitement. At first, I didn't recognize the woman holding his hand. She was tall, young, beautiful. Cascades of dark hair swept across her shoulders, framing delicate cheeks. Then she smiled at me, her face alight with merry mischief, and her eyes shone like twin suns. And I knew it was her. Many souls have passed through here, Baba had said. They say a few of them still remain, waiting for something. The boy raised his hand, waving at me happily. And he would have loved to meet you. My breath froze, and I felt an immense pressure behind my eyes. She raised her hand, waving too. Hot tears slid down my face as I waved back. The wind rose, a great rushing sound like hundreds of birds taking flight. The paper tags were torn from their lapels, vanishing in the air as Gary and Baba faded away in the sunlight. Tsuru tsuru, Baba, I whispered thickly. Let the crane's wings carry you to peace until next we meet. Tsuru tsuru.
Can we please hear it for Kurt Kanazawa? I think we often feel really disconnected from a lot of things that we carry with ourselves in our bodies, and when writing is able to provide that pathway, I think that is really beautiful. So thank you for sharing that with us. But with that, I'm going to bring up our winner of this year's adult category. Please give it up for Brandon Tadashi Chung.
Feels weird to be on this side of the camera for once. Usually I'm back there on the other end. Full disclosure, I completely forgot somehow that we were supposed to give this speech. So if it takes me a little while, just bear with me. I put in my passcode wrong, apparently. As people have said, as Sean said earlier, my family holds very deep roots in this community. I am the grandson of Nori Takatani, who's sitting in the front row. Worked at Onzen for a couple of years during the pandemic to help keep it afloat. And I attended Nisei Week every year with my family, so the Odori dances, all that, nothing new to me. That being said, Little Tokyo, more than a place, are the people that live in it and have comprised this community for many years. My grandfather's one, my family's another. I do have another relative that was very involved in the community. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple months ago. Some of you might have known him. His name was Alan Nishio. And so with that in mind, with that spirit in mind, I sat down thinking I was going to go down that rabbit hole of writing about the people. And as anybody that has entered this contest knows, stories are not instantaneous. They don't come like Athena, fully formed from your mind. You construct them piece by piece by piece. And yet this one did. As soon as I sat down, started writing, it just came out. As you can probably tell, this is about not my grandmother, who's still alive. She just couldn't make it today. Shout out to you, Grandma. I think you're watching the live stream. But about my great-grandmother, my Bachan, who established our family here, brought our family through the war, through terrible times, at great personal cost to herself. She raised all of us to be the people that we are today, but she always carried those wounds with her. And so this was my way of... Sorry, Kurt, you set me off. I was trying to... I know. I was holding it together until you started breaking, and then I was like, oh, crud, I'm going to crack. But this was my way of paying homage to her, and, all the stuff that she suffered. Just my way that of trying to bring her peace, because she deserved it. As it said in the story, she was feisty, spunky. I had to actually tone it down because I only had 2,500 words. But there was a lot more that I wanted to say that I couldn't. I was like, oh, this is all going on the cutting room floor, and I'm so sorry, but $500 is $500. So I want to thank you to everybody that came out. Special shout out to Lisa Glasgow, my mentor. I don't know what half shred of talent you saw in me, and I think you're watching the live stream too, but for taking a chance on me and being a trusted mentor and friend for all of these years. I owe you the world and more. All my family and friends that came out. I want to give a special shout out to all the nominees, all the honorees and winners in this competition. You guys all did fantastic. You guys wrote wonderful stories. And for everybody else that entered the contest, you all did fantastic as well. 2025 is coming up next year. Give them hell. Thank you.
Brandon Tadashi Chung, everybody. Yeah, people should cry on the microphone. That should be part of it. Crying is, let's normalize. Listen, have you watched the news? Just everybody should be. Anyway, all right. So, with that, we have one. Yes. Oh, yes. Sorry. Sorry, this wasn't in the script, so that's why I seem silly. All right.
So, Brandon, congratulations. Here's your $500 check. Thanks. But I also wanted to acknowledge this certificate, the award certificate. Isn't this a cute design? Right? And it was designed by Gwen Muranaka, the senior editor of the Rafu Shimpo. So she designed the poster. So the award certificate is based off the poster. This is English, and the Japanese version is slightly different. So all the awardees, the winners, will get both sets of the posters. Okay. So the certificate reads, Imagine Little Tokyo Short Story Contest 2024 winner, English adult, When Next We Meet by Brandon Tadashi Chung. Congratulations. This way.
All right, so with that, we have our third raffle of the day of 4. When's the fourth one going to happen? That's a great question. We'll find out. So, this next raffle is a two-parter. You're going to get a copy of Judge Jeffrey G. Chin's book, A Rebel's Outcry. Ooh. Can I get a little ooh? And you're going to get a gift certificate to Koraku. Yeah. Think of all that Tenchin Chahan. All right, so our winner is... I'm being really fair. I'm like really mixing the pot. All right. 2. Oh. 7. 3. 6. 5. 5. No, sorry. 2. Sorry. 2, 7, 3, 6, 5. 6. Yeah! You get yourself some sashimi and a book. Hold on. What a good Saturday. All right, so we are rounding out our program for the day. I wanted to give a few thank yous, and then I'm gonna bring Mike back up. But a special thank you for all of our donors who made this contest and monetary awards a reality. You can be a part of this too. You can go to littletokyohs.org to donate and be a part of the Imagine Little Tokyo family. And we also want to acknowledge the hard work of the Imagine Little Tokyo Short Story Contest Committee. Please hold your applause. The co-chairs, Naomi Hirahara and Mia Iwataki. The committee members, alphabetically, Megumi Anjo, Wataru Ebihara, Clyde Fugami, Shige Higashi, Janice Hirohama, Kevin Charles Keizuchi, Emi Komita, Yoko Nishimura, Michael Okamura, Nicole Oshima, Eijiro Ozaki, Kathy Tokudomi, and Bill Watanabe. Can we please give them a huge round of applause? If these titles intrigue you, if you want to read more, you are in luck because all of the honorable mentions and the winners will be published in Discover Nikkei, in addition to the Little Tokyo Historical Society website and the Rafu Shimpo. So you can go home and do a little bit of reading when you get back. But with that, I'm going to bring up the LTHS president, Mike Okamura, to close us out. Thank you.
Well, wasn't that amazing? The 3 winners and the honorable mention stories. And, you know, they were really emotional and they were brought to life by the actors. So we want to thank you all. You know, all of us have these very different stories of Little Tokyo. And we're seeing Little Tokyo, which is celebrating its 140th anniversary this year, but changing, evolving. And this year, the stories really touched upon and illustrated the challenges that our beloved neighborhood, including the small businesses and legacy businesses, are facing constantly. And so in the face of gentrification, rising rents, displacement, the struggles, to preserve the cultural integrity of our neighborhood, you know, we need to keep that in mind. And Little Tokyo's past is what we need to respect and to preserve and move forward with it. But with all these challenges that were recently brought to life in a major way through publications, Little Tokyo was designated one of 11 most endangered historic spaces in the United States. So we need to really protect it. And based on the stories that we have and the young people in the crowd today, I think we have, it's in good hands. Little Tokyo will move forward for another 140 years. You know, my paternal grandparents met here in the mid-1920s, and they got married at the Old Union Church, and they had a small business on Judge John Iso Street. So that's why I'm passionate about Little Tokyo. So we also want to just keep in mind that everyone in Little Tokyo, stakeholders, business owners, cultural institutions, religious institutions, are trying their mightiest to have Little Tokyo move forward. And one nonprofit organization that's doing that is the Little Tokyo Community Impact Fund. And we have with us today some board members and the president. The president of LTCIF is Bill Watanabe up there, and Steve Nagano and others who are on the board. So I understand there will be a table, or you could speak to Bill and Steve and other board members for LTCIF, and they can explain what that is. It's an investment group, not a donation group, but investment. So they do take investments, ultimately to purchase property in Little Tokyo. Okay, and then Little Tokyo LTHS. Hopefully you picked up brochures, and then the brochures include maps of Little Tokyo, and these are very popular at the Little Tokyo Visitor Center in Koban. We run out of these constantly, so Brian will bring some more over. And there will be, after the program, immediately we want to take photos with the winners, the judges, and anyone else on the committee, so just stay here. Then there will be snacks available just outside the door, so please help yourself. The donations were very generously given by Fugetsudo, so Brian, thank you. And Cafe Dulce, James Choi. So with that, thank you again for attending, and I will turn it back to Sean. Okay, thank you.
Thank you everyone so much for joining. We have some acknowledgements that we want to make. Janice, if we could go back a few slides just to the Imagine Little Tokyo Committee. You can go one more. Oh yeah, so just again, thank you so much to our committee members who made this happen. All these people put a lot of time and effort into making this work. It is no joke producing an event like this. And after that, we have our acknowledgements of a lot of partners who helped make this happen. Again, huge thank you to the staff at the Japanese American National Museum. Can we give them a huge round of applause? And of course, a huge thanks to the partner organization, Discover Nikkei, who provided many services and made this happen alongside the LTHS, including translation from Mina Otsuka, who helped make sure that the Japanese language category could happen. After that, we're really grateful to thank all the program participants. Yes, everyone who submitted and also all the winners, everyone who performed today, thank you so much. And then we have donors. Again, your name could be on these slides. But we have had a great, we have our gold donors who really contributed to ensure that we had the cash prizes and the facility and the ability to make this happen. We have silver donors who also did quite a lot of work to ensure. I think we're working a little choreography here. But thank you to the silver donors who contributed, and then also thank you to our raffle prize donors who ensured that there were prizes for people to take home and make this a truly interactive experience. And on the point of raffle prizes, we have one final raffle. Yeah. All right, so the winner, this one is going to be a day in Little Tokyo, which is a very dramatic way. We're doing this we're doing this live. You are gonna get a gift certificate to Aze. Oh, yeah. Let's give Aze. That Japanese breakfast really hits. But after you have your little brunch situation at Aze, you are gonna get a tour of Little Tokyo from Michael Okamura himself. So, this is the big one. Everybody, focus your energy on. I was gonna say my hands, but that's really weird. So just wish really hard. All right, let's get a drum roll for this one. Final prize of the afternoon. 2. All right, we're good. 7. 3, 6, 6, 9. Hey, right in the middle. Congratulations. You are going to have a great meal and a great time walking around Little Tokyo in the summer heat. But thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I hope that you had a really good time. Please go home and read the stories. Please stick around for the reception again with contributions from Fugetsudo and from Cafe Dulce. Please meet the authors. Please say hello, hi to the committee members, and please donate. And with that, I think we're gonna what's happening? A photo. Yes. So would everyone Mia just said, the committee members, the authors, and the judges all stay for a photo. Everyone who is on the microphone and the committee members. Save some of the strawberry daifuku for you? For who? Okay, so yes, if you think you should be in this photo, you're probably supposed to be in this photo. So if you're a committee member, if you were a winner, and if you're a performer, come here. Otherwise, go have some nice dulce and nice fugetsudo, and save some strawberry daifuku for Mia. Thank you.